The slam dunk is one of the most electrifying plays in the game of basketball, as not only do slam dunks hype up the crowd, but they can give a team a huge momentum boost and even get yourself a highlight on SportsCenter's top 10. And with the NBA slam dunk contest coming up, let's go over the greatest dunkers to step foot on an NBA floor. Cue the intro. Let's start off this list with a player most of us are familiar with, Nate Robinson. Nate hasn't been on the better end of highlights of late, but standing at just 5'9", 180 pounds, Nate was one of the flashiest dunkers in NBA history considering his size. Nate wasn't really known for his in-game dunks, but where he really excelled at was the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. The record-setting, 3-time Slam Dunk champion simply owned this event. In this contest, he would pull out 360s, off the backboard dunks, and even windmills that didn't even look possible for his size. But Nate made these dunks look easy, and is well known for one of the greatest players to participate in the Slam Dunk Contest. Nate wasn't the greatest in-game dunker, as his size and his strength compared to others on the floor wasn't in his favor, but he still had some electrifying moments in-game, and the 11-year NBA veteran takes home a well-deserved spot on this list. Next, we got SPUD WEBB. If you thought Nate was too short to be able to dunk the ball at 5'9", meet SPUD WEBB. Standing at just 5'7", 135 pounds, Spud holds the record for the shortest player in NBA history to win the Slam Dunk Contest, as he won the award in 1986. Just like Nate, Spud wasn't known for his in-game dunks, but in the 1986 dunk contest, he pulled off dunks nobody even knew were possible for his size. And in the 1986 contest that he won, he pulled off 360s, double clutch dunks, off the backboard dunks, and even off the bounce reverse dunks. Spud winning the award in '86 was truly remarkable and helped pave the way for smaller players in the NBA to show off their flashy dunks and athleticism. Next player on this list, we got Jason Richardson. Jay Rich was a stud back in the day. Drafted 5th overall by the Warriors in 2001, Jason Richardson was a star right out the gate with his high leaping abilities and his efficient scoring. Jason Richardson is one of only 4 players to take home 2 or more Slam Dunk Championship awards, and he pulled this off his first 2 years in the league. Those dunk contests would paint the picture for how his future would pan out, as there are endless highlights of his insane posters and jaw-dropping alley-oops, especially on the We Believe Warriors team. Jay Rich called it a career in 2015, but he will always be remembered as one of the best dunkers this game has ever seen. Zach LaVINE is one of the most skilled and athletic players in the game today, and most of us remember back in the 2016 dunk contest, the dunk-off he had with Aaron Gordon, which he ended up taking home the award that night. But drafted back in 2014, taken with the 13th pick overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves, LaVINE took no time to show off his high-flying abilities. As just like Jay Rich, LaVINE took home back-to-back Slam Dunk Championship awards in his first 2 seasons in 2015 and 2016. LaVINE, especially in Minnesota, had hops like no other. He would make 360 dunks, free throw line dunks, posters, and alley-oops like they were nothing to him. LaVINE's athleticism took a noticeable dip after 2017 when he tore his ACL, but reinvented his game after being traded to the Bulls and is now seen as one of the best scorers in the league, and with an efficient all-around game, picking up 2 All-Star appearances since then. LaVINE still shows glimpses of his athleticism every now and then, but his dunks will always be remembered as one of the flashiest of all time. DARRYL Dawkins, also known as Chocolate Thunder, was one of, if not the flashiest dunker of his time. Playing in the 70s and 80s, dunking with strength and enthusiasm wasn't a very common thing back then, but DARRYL was an exception, as he was known for breaking multiple backboards with his powerful, flashy dunks, as he broke 2 backboards in just a 3-week span in 1979. He was also part of the NBA investing into breakaway rims to stop him from breaking backboards. Dawkins had endless nicknames for his dunks, such as the Master of Disaster, Dunk You Very Much, and many more comedic names. Dawkins was never an all-star in his career, but will forever be remembered for his electrifying dunks back in the day and takes home a well-deserved spot on this list. Clyde Drexler, one of the greatest players in the 80s and 90s, was also freakishly athletic, and it was no secret, especially in his nickname, Clyde the Glide. Clyde was an exceptional dunker back in his college days in Houston, but he translated it to the NBA as well, literally looking like he was gliding in some of his dunks. Drexler was known for being able to dunk from such far distances, making it look easy with his insane leaping ability. He was known for showing his freak athleticism, especially on the fast break, and had a few career posters as well, including one on the 7'7" Manute Bol. But the legend Clyde the Glide is an all-time great due to his scoring ability and athleticism, and takes home a well-deserved spot on this list. KEMP was one of the most athletic big men in NBA history. With a perfect mixture of strength and athleticism, KEMP was not the nicest guy when it came to throwing the ball in the hoop. as KEMP always looked to posterize anybody hanging out under the rim, and made a lot of posterized victims over the years. The Supersonic Great has an entire highlight reel of posterizing players, and doing it in such a disrespectful manner, such as taunting the guy he just dunked on. Shawn Kemp was a big man ahead of his time, with his freakish speed and athleticism for his size, standing at 6'10", and with his ability to grab a rebound and run down the court with the ball himself, nobody on the other team wanted to see him coming down on the fast break. The 6-time All-Star is recognized as one of the greatest dunkers this game has ever seen, and his dunking highlight reel is forever etched in NBA history. Next, we got the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. Kobe was one of the most athletic players in the league in his early days, and him being the youngest player in NBA history to win the slam dunk contest says a lot. Kobe was able to score from anywhere on the court, whether it be from the 3, the mid-range, or beat you off the dribble and go for a crazy reverse double clutch jam. Kobe has also got a handful of posters in his career, including the one on rookie Dwight Howard, Yao Ming, and even his older days when he posterized half of the Brooklyn Nets team. Kobe wasn't even primarily known for his dunking in his later years, but Kobe being Kobe, there was nearly nothing he couldn't do on the court, and his incredible dunking ability and athleticism gives the all-time great Kobe Bryant a well-deserved spot on this list. Next, we got one of the OG dunkers of the game, Julius Erving. The great Dr. J, the 16-time All-Star, started his Hall of Fame career in the ABA in 1971, which was a league that rewarded flashy dunks and even had a three-point line before the NBA did. When the two leagues merged in 1976 though, and Dr. J brought his talents to the NBA, this is when people really started to appreciate his greatness. Julius Erving has an endless highlight reel of dunks, including one-handed windmills and a vertical that left the fans in awe. Dr. J was ahead of his time with his creativity and leaping ability and helped pave the way for the dunkers today. Dr. J will always be remembered as not only as one of the greatest players, but greatest dunkers to ever touch a basketball. And speaking of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball, this leads me right to my next entry on this list, which is the great Dominique Wilkins. His nickname isn't the human highlight reel for nothing. First, can we take a look at how sick of a nickname that is? The human highlight reel is one of the flashiest and emphatic dunkers this game has ever seen. The 9-time All-Star was not only arguably the greatest dunker in his era, but he was also one of the greatest players in the league. Dominique would just casually do a double clutch and reverse dunks like it was second nature to him. The 2-time slam dunk champion was one of the most creative dunkers of all time, and his athleticism made him one of the most exciting players to watch in his era. Now cracking into the top 4, first we got the high-flying Blake Griffin. If any of you guys remember Blake Griffin from his rookie season, his athleticism, especially for a 6'10" big man, was off the charts. Being the first overall pick back in 2009 by the Los Angeles Clippers, Blake missed his entire rookie season due to a knee injury, but when he came back the very next season, it looked like he was never injured to begin with. Blake Griffin single-handedly had a compilation of insane posters and flashy dunks in just his rookie season alone. And with the addition of Chris Paul via trade in 2011, the Lob City era in Los Angeles officially started. It felt like Blake would catch a lob from CP3 every game, and on top of that, the 6-time All-Star postered nearly every big man in the league during that time. Blake's athleticism drastically declined, especially after he left Detroit, but Blake will always be remembered for his time in LA and his unreal dunks. Next on this list, we got the King, LeBron James. LeBron James has been throwing down slam dunks for about 20 seasons by now, and he has not slowed down one bit since. LeBron is one of the most athletic players this game has ever seen, where it seems like every other dunk, his head is at rim level. The King is the absolute last player anyone on the opposing team wants to see running down the fast break, as you don't know if he'll poster you with his strength or throw down a monster alley-oop. Over the years, we have seen LeBron jump over guys like John Lucas III in Miami, absolutely obliterate Jason Terry off the lob, and throw non-human-like posters on guys like Jusuf Nurkic. Even being the all-time leading scorer at 38 years old, James isn't shying away from his arsenal of dunks, and is still throwing them hammers down like it's 2003. We unfortunately never got to see LeBron participate in the dunk contest, but that would have been something special to witness. Next, we got Michael Jordan. Air Jordan, literally in his name, Jordan was known for his airtime with his dunks and his creativity while doing so. Jordan was also ruthless in game with his dunks, as he was always looking to posterize the other team's best defender, such as when he dunked on Mutombo after he said he'd never dunk on him, or his dunk on Ewing at MSG in 1991. Jordan didn't fear anybody. No, quite literally. If he didn't posterize you, he either sent you home in the playoffs or did both. The 2-time slam dunk champion was one of the highest flyers this game has ever seen and takes home the well-deserved number 2 spot on this list. But coming in at number 1, we got Vince Carter. Who else would have been the number 1 pick? When you hear Vince Carter, you immediately think of his dunks. Vince was such a high-flying talent in his early days in Toronto that they called him Air Canada, and that couldn't have been any more fitting. Vince absolutely took over the 2000 slam dunk contest, showcasing dunks nobody even knew were possible. He easily took home that award with arguably the greatest dunks in the competition's history. Vince also jumped over a 7'2" French big man in the 2000 Olympics, and if social media existed back then, that dunk would have broken the internet. Vince was also an insane in-game dunker, as the 8-time All-Star had endless creativity with his dunks, as he'd do windmill alley-oops, reverse double clutch baseline dunks, tomahawk dunks, insane posters, or even 360s. There was no dunk Vince Carter couldn't pull off back in the day, and VC, undoubtedly the greatest dunker of all time, takes home the number 1 spot on this list. Thank you guys so much if you made it to the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe down below, and comment any other players you think should have made this list or future video ideas. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.